Hi everyone, my name is Mara and welcome to my channel. This is my very first video, so please be nice. And if you want to stay up to date with my latest videos, I promise I will try to record more videos, even though sometimes I don't really have time for that. But yeah, I'll try it anyway. So hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with my latest videos. And now let's get into the subject of why we are here, because I'm pretty sure you don't like me just talking. You just want to know, how did I build this line chart here? And this was my basis. So this is the basic line chart. This is the one that I've built. I'm looking at the side because I have this other screen here and I'm not really used to recording stuff. So my mind is all over the place, or my eyes. I'm going to show you all the steps that I applied to basically format my chart, all the metrics that I've built, so that you can in the end have something more like this instead of that. So let's do that. So yeah, like I said before, let's start building our pretty amazing line chart. So again, what I'm going to do now is basically try to build a line chart that has some target areas. Why am I still with my headphones? Anyway, what we are going to do to build now is our line chart that will have two little shaded areas, which corresponds to the upper bound for our target and the lower bound for our targets. So I'm going to start with an empty canvas like this. The data that I used is that sample data that you can get when you open a Power BI desktop. There is an option here somewhere that you can load some sample data. That's exactly what I've done. I'm going to start by dragging the date here. And now I'm going to drag the profit, because this is going to be my basis for the line chart. So if I try to build a line chart like this, this is what I get, right? I'm going to remove the quarter because I don't like quarters for some reason. And I'm going to just expand the hierarchy level so I can get it by day. So now I have my line chart by day. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't look horrible, but it doesn't look good either. And it has nothing to do with what we want our result to be, right? So this is my base chart and I'm going to leave it like that. If you remember, we want that kind of target area, which is green, which is like above target, or it has some area that is above target, and the red one, which is below target. So we're going to start with the green one. So the trick that I used for the green one is actually something pretty cool that came out in March this year. I probably don't remember. I'm saying something stupid, but I think it was probably March this year. Probably. That is this nice thing called error bars, which is again a new feature. Before, you couldn't really do this. I really tried really hard, and for some reason I never found a nice solution for this. It's still not an amazing solution. At least it's a lot better than we had before. So this is what I'm going to use for my basically target shaded areas. But before that, we don't have a measure for profit yet. So I'm going to quickly create a measure. I'm going to call it total profit. This doesn't take forever. Total profit. And this is just basically the sum of the profit. That's it. It's always a good practice to have DAX measures for everything, even if you can use the column directly. So this is my measure. I'm just going to replace now my old the column that I was using with that measure. So that's it. Now we are using the measure. And now again, we are going to worry about that upper bound shaded area, the green part. So here I'm going to this, what used to be advanced features, advanced analytics, something. I don't really remember the name, but apparently now it's just called add further analysis to your visual. I didn't know that. So in here, in whatever this is called, further analysis, you have a section called error bars. So if you open that section, you can see that you can enable the section. So I'm going to enable it. But now that is a problem because we need an upper bound and a lower bound for our error bars. We need to create those upper bound and lower bound targets for the above target kind of shaded area. So I'm going to create two measures. The first measure is going to be the total profit or target, above target. Let's write above target, and we are going to start with the upper bound. So here we have 2 million. Imagine that our upper bound is 1.5 million. So I'm going to just write this down. Is this millions already? No, probably one missing 1 0. Okay. Sorry, this is the upper bound, so I'm going to actually put 2 million in here. So this is our upper bound. So if we get it here, this will probably show us something already. That's 20 million. I'm really good with data, ain't I? Okay, let me just change this to 2 million. Okay, now it looks good, but now we need the lower bound for this error bar. I'm going to be lazy and just copy the same measure. And now I'm going to create a new measure and I'm going to create this lower bound one. So this is upper bound. I'm going to change this to lower bound. And the lower bound is going to be 1. This one is going to be 1.5 million. Let's see if I get it this time. I'm not really good with numbers. Okay. This is our measure. Okay, so you can see now if this was our target area, we already have here some indication that we are in the target area somehow. But still, this is not what we want. So I'm going to minimize this options kind of tab, and I'm going to enable this error band option. So when I enable this, it gets kind of shaded, as you can see. And now you can choose like different options. You can have like just a line, as you can see here, which I don't like for this kind of purpose, and have a fill in the line. Like you can see the line, you can see it very well, but it's there. Also, you can just leave it as fill, which is what I'm going to do. And now you have this option here saying match series colors, which I don't want for now, and I'm actually going to change it to green. So there is no green here, and I'm going to take it there. Just going to choose a random green shade. So we already have our shaded area. So this is good, but now we still have this kind of things, the error bars. And we also have the tooltip, which we are going to take care of later. You can get rid of these error bars by basically disabling the bar here. So you do this and the error bars are magically gone. Now we need the lower band. Imagine the lower band is, I don't know, everything below 500,000. So that is a problem now, because if you try to go here to the error bars, and I mean, you already have a error bar. So if you try to change it, you can't, because you can only have one error bar per measure, which means we have to get a little bit creative to create that lower kind of the below target shaded area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new measure. I'm going to call this new measure my profit dummy measure. So I'm not going to use it really for anything. I just wanted to use it for that shaded area for the below targets kind of shaded area. So I'm going to call it total profit dummy. And now basically this is going to be exactly the same as total profit. I don't want it to change. I want it to be the exact same measure. It's just a problem that I can't use more than one measure in the error bars. So now I have my total profit dummy measure, but we will have kind of the same problem as before, which is if I add this measure here, so I'm adding it here, it shows up here. So if I go here, I can now select the series that I want to apply my error bars to. So I already had this in total profit, I can go for the total profit dummy, and because this one doesn't have an error bar yet, I can enable the error bar, but then I need the upper bound and the lower bound for my kind of shaded area. So what I'm going to do is to be lazy again. I'm going to copy the ones I've created before. I'm going to create a new measure. I'm going to say this is below target, and I'm going to say this is the lower bound. So I'm going to put just 0. And again, copy paste this measure because we are very lazy. And now I'm going to put as the upper bound 500,000. 500,000. Did I get it right? I think so. This is going to be my upper bound. Now I have the upper bound, I have the lower bound for kind of the shaded area that is below target. So now I can use them in my fields here in the options for my error bars, the upper bound and the lower bound. So I'm going to put the upper bound here, and upper bound, which is here. Okay, this is not really enough, so I'm going to change this to probably 1,000,000. And let's make the other one 500,000 actually. Okay, so now we have the kind of shaded area, or at least part of it, for the below target part of our chart. So now it's exactly the same as we've done before. You just enable the error band, you change the color, or first actually you need to disable this match series color, so you can select a different color, which is going to be red. And now I'm going to disable the bars here. So we are almost done, but as you can see here, there is a lot of kind of stuff that is in our tooltips that I don't really want it in my tooltip. So if you want to remove this kind of tooltips that show you the upper and lower limits, you can disable this here on the tooltip here. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to disable this. And by the way, you need to do it for both. So we did 2 error bars. So we did for the total profit measure and for the total profit dummy measure. So we need to disable it on both. And now you can see it's all gone. But now, if you wanted to do what I've done with those data labels, if you try to do that here, I mean, it shows up already, and it shows up all the labels for both measures, first the dummy one and the original one. And I wanted to show only, like, for the targeted area, I wanted to show just the green kind of label, and just everything that is above the target, everything that is below target should show the label in red, and everything in the middle, I don't want it to show anything. So we need to get a little bit creative to do that again. I'm going to disable here the data labels. So what I'm going to do now is basically I'm going to create a measure. I'm going to create a new measure that is basically going to say or going to retrieve everything that is above the target. In this case, for us to show those labels above target. So let's put here profit labels. What I'm going to say is if the total profit, which is our basic measure, is above the lower bound. It's the lower bound for the above profit target. I know it's a bit confusing, but it's basically this 1.5 million one. So everything that is above this will show here. So let's put this one. Then show me the total profit. If not, then just retrieve blank, because I don't want this to be plotted in my line chart. So here we are, and I'm going to do the same for the ones below the target. So again, lazy, I'm going to copy this one, create a new measure, and I'm basically going to say below target. Here, change the name, and now it's basically the other way around, and I want it to be total profit below target. And I want the upper bound, which means this 1 million one. So upper bound, it's the same thing. If it's lower, then show me total profit. If it's not, give me blank. So that's it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these two measures to my chart. And okay, the upper one and the lower one. Something a bit weird is happening. So there is this weird lines and so on. We are going to take care of that later. Right now, I want to format this chart to basically have those markers that we had in our kind of final solution. So I'm going to go to the formatting tab again. I'm going to the markers here, and I'm going to basically enable the markers. There is one problem. Again, it enables the markers for all series, and that's not what I want. So I just want this for the labels. So I'm going to disable this for total profits and for total profit dummy. So now I only have the markers in the measures I want, which is the labels. If I go now here to my labels, I can increase the size, and I'm going to change this color to green. So now I have green dots. We are going to do the same for everything below target. I'm going to increase the size a little bit and change the color to red. So now it looks a little bit more like what we want, but still all these lines are a bit weird. So what we can do about it is go to the lines here and go to the ones for the labels, select the series for the labels, and basically the stroke width, we want it to 0. So we are going to do the same for both measures for the labels. I'm going to remove this. So now we only have the little circles, red and green, corresponding to if they are below target or above target in our chart. So what we can do now, finally, is add our data labels to our chart. But again, it will have the same problem, which is it's going to add data labels to every series that you have. So we are going to disable this for total profit and disable it for profit dummy. And the reason again is because we want these two to show, but not the other ones. I'm also going to change this slightly because I want this to show above oh, not this one. This above target, I want it to show above. So it shows up here. And the below target, I want it to show under. So it's going to show under. So it's a little bit better. And also you can make these values match your kind of little circles, you can make them bold, and you can, for example, put this ones in red. So everything is red. And do the same thing for the ones above the target, which are going to be green and bold. So now we have in our chart almost everything we wanted. It's just it doesn't look very nice. Still, there are still a few things for us to fix. For example, the title. I'm going to fix the title now. I'm going to General, go to Title, and I'm going to say that this is sales profit over time. And I'm going to just change the text to this font here, make it a little bit bigger, like 20. And some other things that I'm going to do is here on the axis. We don't really need the titles because they are a bit redundant. So in the x-axis, I'm going to remove the title, so the year disappears. And in the y-axis, I'm going to remove the title and remove the axis entirely. So I only have kind of, yeah, I don't have the axis because I have the label. So it's pretty much the same, almost. And you can also have the tooltip to check the values. So this is my chart now, and there are only a few things that I would improve, which is, for example, remove these labels here, the legend, sorry, not the labels. So remove the legend, because the legend, as you can see, is basically showing, yeah, measures that are not actually, I mean, they are being used in the visual, but we don't want our end users to know, right? So we are going to remove this, the legend. And also, finally, we are just going to improve the line a little bit. So the main line. By the way, we totally forgot to also remove this dummy profit measure. And I'm going to basically remove this line here by setting the stroke to 0. And now my main measure showing the only one is total profits. And I can make this one slightly less like fat. That doesn't sound good, but anyway. And I'm going to change the color of this one, like a kind of a grayish. Yeah. Okay. So now basically we have everything we wanted. We have our upper bound, like for the target, or everything above target. We have our shaded area for the targets. Either if it's above or below, we have red and green. So now we have finally everything we want for our chart. And yeah, that's pretty much it.